Hello, hello. Time for the second full Flap Sims live stream. Can everyone hear me okay? How are the audio volumes? Everyone hear me okay? Voice is a little low. Alright, how about now? Any better? Alright, we bumped it up. We'll adjust throughout the stream. Water, how's it going, man? Welcome. Brian, I do not use VATSIM. I've got an account. I've got it set up, or at least I have an account, but I need to figure out how to actually fly on it. So it's coming, but haven't got it set up yet. Zippy, sweet. Thanks for the voice check. If you guys need the volume up or down throughout the stream, just let me know. All right, so today's plan is we are going to jump in the Southwest 7.3, the 700 model, and we're going to do some John Wayne ops, taking off out of a short runway with some noise abatement issues. Head on out to Las Vegas, and then we'll do a turnaround on the jet and come on back into John Wayne on the Disney arrival, and maybe do a non-precision type approach into John Wayne just to see how we do our nav approaches with either integrated approach nav or just LNAV VNAV. So we'll get started. We'll jump in the jet. First thing we do, we'll say the pre-flight's been done already. Power's on the airplane. This is the typical configuration that you would find the airplane when you get to it, assuming that the other crew has has kind of left it in a turnaround state. Power applied, APU's off, ground air applied, and then depending on how long the turnaround is, the IRS is either secured or left on. Zsolt, SNA is your home airport. Dude, I am a huge fan of John Wayne. It's way more convenient than LAX. Easy airport to get in and out of. The terminal's nice and clean. Big fan. Really enjoy flying in and out of John Wayne. All right, we'll check the leading edge flap devices. Make sure all the lights are functioning. Fun fact, the number of lights that are allowed to be burned out here depends on the variant of 7.3 you're flying and what leading edge segments you can see from the cockpit. So on the 700, since we can see quite a bit, the 3 outboards could be burned out because we can verify their position by looking out the window. All right, we'll get the INSs, or the IRSs, spinning up. Dome lights on. We don't have any EEC lights. EEC covers are closed. We got 1,000 PSI on the oxygen. 3 green lights. Passenger oxygen switch is guarded. Not first flight of the day, so we don't have to check the flight recorder. And then we'll check the mock airspeed warnings and the stall warning tests. Christopher, hey man, how are you? All right, stall warning checks. Good, so we'll jump in, get the iPad all set up. Here is our flight plan. Looks like John Wayne's calling 210 at 3 knots, 6 statute miles in mist, 2997 on the meters. We got that set. All right, we'll jump right into the FMS setup. So we'll go FMC, index, ident, and verify that all this is correct, which it is. We got up-to-date nav data. I'm going to go position initialization, and we'll go SNA, and then we'll grab the GPS position and put it into the IRS. Going John Wayne, route request, we're going to use the SimBrief route and get that cooking. Well, that's going. We'll check oil quantity. Looks good. We need minimum of 12 quarts, and then hydraulic quantity doesn't show refill, and it's below 102. So that all looks good. Alright, we'll load the route. Going out is Southwest Flight 1422. We'll activate and execute that. And then departures and arrivals. We're going to take off runway 20 right via the fins 3. I believe the Beale transition. Nope, fins 3 Meisen transition. So we got to go back. Fins 3 Meisen transition off of 20 right. Execute that. Going into Vegas will be the ILS 26 left Yankee. Take it off of Bourbon. And the Ronders too. From Meisen, so we'll join all that up. Activate it. Go back to route. Fins 3 to Meisen. Meisen Ronders to 26. Vector Bourbon. And that'll take us around to the ILS. Looks good. We'll request the performance data. Right, load. And we'll double check this info against what SimBrief gave us. So, zero fuel weight of 118.4, that's correct. 5.7 on the reserve fuel. Cost index of 36, that works fine. Going up to a cruise of, SimBrief wants 290, so we'll do 290. Cruise winds are fine. Temperature looks fine, and then we'll put 290 in the pressurization panel. And the landing altitude in Vegas is 2,200 feet. There we go. All set. Marco, hey, how's it going, man? All right, so we got that set. Now we can jump into the winds. Route data, we'll get the winds. There we go, cruise winds, load those. Execute, and then we'll go to the descent page, forecast, load the descent winds, and execute them as well. All right, so the FMS is basically set. Let's see, we have any reporting points here, which it does not look like we do. No reporting points there, and then we will just go in and put KLAS in our fix. Get that all set up on the ground. All right, that's all set. Okay, doing our FMS review. So this page is typically populated regardless of IRS status, but we'll wait until the IRS is aligned. Looks like we've got another 2 minutes, and then they will be all up to date. So in the meantime, we'll get the overhead going. Run this flow. We did the upper overhead already, so all the flight control switches are down. Yaw damper can come on. Nav and display switches are all in the normal and auto position. Got the fuel pumps are off. All right, fuel pumps are off. Cross feed's closed. Electrical power panel looks good. Galley power's on. We're sitting here on ground power. We'll fire up the APU in just a second. Close the emergency exit lights. Get the seatbelt signs on. Get the window heats on. Electric hide pumps can stay off. Got the doors, CVR, checks good. And then the 700 air panel is actually different than the 800. So you'll notice that the temp controllers are, you only have two. You have cockpit and then the entire cabin on one zone, as well as there's only one recirc fan device, the two that the 8 and 900 have. I've never flown the 700, but apparently the 800 and 900 air system is significantly better at keeping passengers cool than the 700 is. But regardless, that's what we've got today, so we'll work with it. Air panel is set. Got 2900, 22 auto is set. Logo lights are on. First flight of the day, so we'll go, or first trip for us, we'll go right ignition, and the overhead is all set. Coming up here, the MCP, we'll get the flight directors on. We'll put the master on the FO side since I'm flying. And I'm actually going to change the MCP to 5,000, which should be the top altitude on the departure. And then 196 on the heading. We'll verify those here in a second. Airbus in the sky's got it. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. The old dog heard something outside, so PTU went off. All right. Sid, fins 3. Top altitude is 17. Normally on your clearance out of John Wayne, you'll get 5,000 feet, so I'm going to leave this at 5, just because that's typically what they'll give us. And then the initial climb is 196 on the heading. So we got 196, 5,000 feet. We'll LNAV that. And then we'll put 196 in the courses for an immediate return. Actually, you know what? He probably wouldn't come back to John Wayne, so we'll put 251 for LA. Forgot to announce the stream. Did I not? On the Discord? All right. Got the MCP all set, and now we'll give the lights a check. So I did not realize this until somebody pointed it out to me, but you cannot individually test the bulbs in the Pmdg like you can on the real jet, and apparently iFly has modeled that, so that'll be kind of cool, the push to test function on all the different lights. Team Bucket, no, just the stock photo of the cable. All right, checking the ADI, got that all set. Altimeter's good. Auto for speed reference reset. The fuel flow. Checked all the MFD and systems. We got to get the brake pressure going here, so we'll go B pump on. There's 3,000 psi. B pump comes back off. RTO. Test the jip whiz. Takeoff warning check. Speed brake is down. Flaps are up. Cutoff levers are in cutoff. Park brake set. Stat trim cutout switches are in normal. Then we'll check the squibs.
Airspeed low. Airspeed low.
Fault in up light. And gonna make some noise with the fire test. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11 lights. And the cargo fire test. There we go. All right. We'll set our squawk code of something like that. And then rudder and aileron trim, check those. And the pre-flight flow is complete. All right. It's Water's responsibility. Man, I'm putting a lot on Water. He's basically Discord creator / mod stream announcer. So the other day you flew the 800 with the Honeywell FCU, but this is the Collinsure operator head. But we do have both. and they're completely interchangeable as far as which one you fly. My intent was actually to have the Honeywell FCU up here, just because the older jets, which Southwest, these their 700s were some of the first off the line. So this would probably have a Honeywell FCU in real life, but I just figured we'd go with the Collins since it's already up there. But my intent was to have the Honeywell FCU. Okay. Progress page. We got 258 air miles on the progress page, and that should check with 258. So it's perfectly aligned with SimRoof there, showing 8.3 fuel on deck. We'll step through our VNAV pages. Climbing out at 300.74. That works fine. Cruising at 0.7. We could probably bump that up to 0.78. And then descent 0.78. It's got 280. Let's take a look at the arrival and see if it has a descent via speed. Whoa. Here we go. No speed, so we'll descend at 300. Put that in there. 300, so all the VNAV is sorted out. Check our route. John Wayne to Las Vegas, Southwest 1422, taking off at 20 right. Fins 3, Meissen to the Ronders, then Bourbon to the 26 left ILS. That all looks good. And then we'll verify it via stepping through on the legs page. Very officer-like. Yeah. Water, I'm just trying to prepare you for your future career. Hey, man, do you mind taking care of this for me? All right, we got play, Arcus. Mizzen, top of descent. Onto a downwind. All looks good. Okay, so now we can verify the points for the departure out of here, and then we can set the jet up for the actual the Fins 3 and the special considerations at John Wayne. So the Fins 3 departure is let's see, Strel and Dolph are both at or belows, so we've got 5,000 and 8,000 at or below, and then we need to do fins above 10. These two, depending on how long they keep you down at 5,000 feet, these two could be a challenge. So we'll take a look at it today, but just something to keep note of, that you have these at or belows, and so if they give you a climb via afterwards, it could be a challenge to make the at or aboves later. If ATC subsequently clears you above one of these at or below restrictions, all we're going to do is delete the restriction with the altitude intervene button. So effectively, you set the MCP altitude above the restriction, hit altitude intervene, and it will delete the restriction so that you can go ahead and climb through it. All right, so we'll do our performance data a little early just so we can get it set up. Finally got the tablet working. This was a pain to get going. Had to reinstall all the Pmdg airplanes to get the tablet working. Let's see, John Wayne, flaps 1. That's pretty boring. Let's do flaps 15 and calculate. There we go. All right, so Perfinite page, that all checks good. It's a TO132, so we'll go TO1 derate 32, and then all departures from John Wayne are going to be climb 2 regardless, just for noise. And then we're going to do a flap 15. That's 6.3 on the trim. Yeah, Vodka, I hear the 700 is a rocket ship. I really wish that I got to fly it. That's about 6.3 on the trim, and speeds are 19, 20, and 25 set. All right, 25 is set. Now what we need to do is we need to go to takeoff ref 2. Yeah, that's true. You could absolutely just climb at an incredibly slow speed. So here's where we can set the acceleration height, the thrust reduction to climb to, and then the engine out acceleration height. So we're going to keep the engine out acceleration height at 1,000 feet, because if we bust a motor, we want to accelerate out for safety purposes. For our 2-engine departure reduction, we're going to put 1,500 here, and then we're going to hold the climb to thrust from 1,500 up to 3,000 feet. And we're going to delay our cleanup until 3,000 feet. So effectively, we'll rotate, we'll pick up V2 plus 20 knots, we'll fly that all the way up to 3,000 feet, and at 1,500 the thrust will come back to climb to for noise abatement purposes. Cutback does something very similar, but we just put it in here and call it good. All right, so we've got our gas, that's all set. We can get some of the ground services out of here, and we'll fire up the APU. So no fuel in the center tanks, we'll use the left pumps and get the APU going. Waterway's got our fuel. Release the galley trucks. This is cool. You've got the fog from the marine layer that's burning off. I've got it set to live weather, and as I was setting up for the stream, I was watching this fog layer lift and move offshore. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Zippy, the 700 is fun, and in my mind, the 700 is kind of the classic 737 size. The 800s and 900s always look kind of comically long to me. You guys will have to bear with me a little bit congested. No stupid wing. Next stream we'll do a Zebo stream with no winglets, just so that we can fly a clean wing 7.3. All right, APU generator is up. We'll check the quality of the power. So APU generator here, we got 400 hertz, 115 volt AC, and we can put the APU on the bus. And then we'll start the clock for 2 minutes before we put the APU bleed on. With that, we can get rid of ground power. We'll release the air. And now we're just waiting on bags. Blackbird, what's up, man? Glad you could join us. That preview that you posted of the 7.3 throttles looks amazing. Cannot wait to get my hands on a copy of those and use them in the Pmdg. Guessing the used look texture is a mod. As far as the cockpit goes, yes, this is a texture mod by CFD. I think it's on Flight Sim TO, but it puts a worn texture on all the 7.3s, and it also darkens up the panel, makes it a little bit more gray instead of the kind of purplish hue that the Pmdg has stock out of the box. The only thing that bums me out though is some of these Southwest liveries came with like in-op stickers and things, and the mod gets rid of those. So it's got a little bit less character than the repaints had, but it's got the worn textures and stuff, which looks pretty good. Vodka, you're buying them too? Yeah, absolutely. Blackbird, as soon as you get the product where you want it and you're ready to bring them to market, let us know, because I think a lot of us will pick them up. The purple hue, yeah. So this texture mod looks really, really good. I flew a jet the other day that had an ADI and a CVR that came out of a 7.5, and so they had the Boeing beige on those two panels. So that was kind of cool to see. But all right, here we go. Knocking out a quick pre-flight checklist. The interior and exterior inspection are complete. The circuit breakers are checked. Nav and display switches are normal and automatic. Passenger signs are on. Window heat is on. Probe heat Those are off. Engine bleed air switches are on. Pressurization panel is set. Mode selector is in auto. Mode control panel is, let's see, I'm flying. We're going to 5,000 feet, 196. That's all set. LNAV up. Oxygen mask is checked. Altimeters are 2997. That's cross-checked. Flight nav instruments are verified. We got flight director. LNAV is armed. Nose feed speeds is clear. Warning and unnecessary lights have been checked. Speed brake is down. Takeoff warning has been checked and closed. Engine start levers are off. Stab trim cutout switches are normal. Fire warning's been checked. The radios, not on VATSIM, but so I'm not going to worry about setting these. But you would set, ground tower departure here, and then throw guard in the back. Radar is in-op in the Pmdg. Rudder and aileron trim are free and zero. Parking brake is set. Windows are closed and locked. It's dumb, but I really would like Pmdg to model this window being able to open. Just kind of something fun to do on the ground. Flight attendant briefing is complete. Departure briefing is complete. Logbook QRHs are on board. The fuel required, we need 12.3, and we got 12.4 on board. Vodka, is there a reason not to turn on probe heat when you turn the window heat on? Mainly, there's just no reason to. And you can get the probes kind of hot and overheat them. So I chose, there's two probe heat panels in the 7.3. So this one is on, off and on. The new 7.3s have auto and on, and as soon as you get a generator online, the auto position will power the probes. So in theory, in those airplanes, you never have to turn the switch on because the probes are automatically powered and unpowered. But for habit patterns, if you go back and forth between the two, we still move the switches on. The reason for that is if you try and take off with the probes off, the electronic engine controls could revert to a soft alternate mode, and you could abort the takeoff. So what you'll do is if you have the probes off, and then for some reason you forgot them and you tried to take off and you set takeoff power, the EECs the FADEX effectively, will go into soft alternate mode and kick an engine caution, which you would likely abort the takeoff for. So since that's kind of such an easy thing to forget, that would lead to an aborted takeoff, a lot of operators have gone with the automatic probe heat option, and then they're on every time the generators are powered. Probably a long road to a short house there, but that's the story on probe heat. AJ, yeah, they've said it's coming for a while, but nothing yet. Although I do hear there's a big update coming, so maybe that'll be the one. All right, we got 5 minutes on the APU, so we'll turn the bleed on, and we'll get both packs running. All right. And then gate agent comes down, we verify final paperwork, and they close the front door and pull the jet bridge away. Say what you will about Pmdg, the 747-100 is going to be a day one buy for me, and I probably will not fly anything else for the next 6 months. Just a steam gauge, classic airliner. RF legs being added. Are they being added for the 7.3 in the big update? Dreamerosity? Just waiting on this baggage cart. Okay, in the meantime, they've locked the door. We're stuck in here, so we're going to go pumps. Pumps. Doors are closed. Flight deck door and TCAS. Straight month of Pan Am, you know it. Alright, pushback checklist. The doors are closed, the hide panel is set. Fuel panel is set. Flight deck door is closed and locked. The transponder is transpondering. Pushback check is complete. Bringing in the newer LNAV from the triple. Nice. Well, I'll definitely take any update that this airplane can get. Alright, looks like everyone is clear. So we'll go pushback. Standard L, we'll turn the nose left. And here we go.
Go ahead.
Vodka, yeah. So my big heartburn with the ground ops thing in general is that it used to be all automatic. So if you had the P3D version of this airplane, it would, you basically set up all your stuff, you hit, turnaround, and the ground ops were all automated. And now you have to go through and do it by hand, which sort of breaks the immersion, having to jump in and do it yourself. All right, beacon's on, the brakes are released. We're clear to push. Every time.
Brakes released. Here we go.
Dude pulled a V1. What'd I do? All right, pushing back. Gustavo, what's up, man? Dreamerosity, thanks, man. Congrats on starting the channel too. Great to see more aviators creating content. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, we're just getting started, so thanks for being a part of it from day one. I appreciate that. Kyle, weather here in Florida has slowly been getting spicier. Ooh, where are you at in Florida? All right, here we go. We're cleared to start. Start them both. Packs are off. Grounding 2, starting the clock.
Pushback complete. Park brake, please.
Okay, there's the brake.
Brake set.
All right, 25 minimum. That looks like max motoring to me. There goes fuel, spar valve, and engine valve.
All right, steering
And
pin is disconnected. Watch for the slip release from guidance on
light
the
off
left.
in 10 seconds. There's light off. Orlando, okay. Nice, man. Still, I got family down in Florida. I should probably check on them. They're on the east side, so hopefully it's not too bad, but all right, 56%. Starter cutout. Good start. Those look good. Anti-ice is not required. Isolate, ventilate, start number 1. Full flap, you start the stream without announcing it's 10 for 10 people. It's water's fault. We covered that. I have people for that, and water failed me. Everything is his fault. All right, 25%. All right, max motoring. Here comes fuel. Engine spar valves. Light off by 45. There's light off. Hashtag blame water. Yeah, I updated my nav data. What more do you want? Okay, 56%. Start valve closed. Good start. And we'll go. Generators on. Probe heats. ADI's not required. Air panel is set. APU can come off. Check the recall. And set flap 15. That's pretty good flap sounds. All right. After start checklist, the generators are on. Probe heats are on. Anti-ice is not required. Air conditioning panel is set. The recall is checked. Auto brakes are RTO. After start check is complete. And we'll run the taxi check here since it's a short taxi. So here comes flight control check. And left and right. Rudder, left, and right. It's funny, if you've ever flown Southwest, their flight control check is very fast. It kind of just looks like they wipe them out and then call it good. All right, taxi checklist. Flaps are, let's see, get to the FMS set here. All right, flaps are 15, 15, 15 with a green light. Takeoff speeds are 19, 20, 25. Set. Thrust. TO1 32, stab trim 6.3, and flight controls are checked. Taxi check is complete. All right, Kyle, I am running a cockpit texture mod. It's the CFD cockpit texture mod. We'll get the warm-up time going on the engines. It is on Flight Sim TO, and it's specific to each variant of the 7.3. They've also got a Discord that they posted them in as well. But it's very easily publicly available, so you can run it. Gus, clean flaps. Yeah. You know, I mean, this is one of the cleaner airplanes in the texture pack that I got, which is funny because it's the old paint, so you'd think that it would be a little bit more beat up, but yeah, we need just a filthy Southwest paint. Maybe with some mismatched cowlings and such. All right, we'll sit them down in the back while the captain taxis out. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for departure. They call back, say it's good. Back on one. Gray shirt. It is. Yeah, it's the wear and tear mod from CFD Designs. Well, let me look it up. Celthian Flight Deck. CELTHYAN makes the mod. All right. I'm going to run over all these vehicles on the way out. Okie doke. We can see the runway takeoff position here, so we'll do the before takeoff checklist. We got our min fuel for takeoff. All right, before takeoff check. Runway position. We got 20 right full length inside and 20 right full length outside at Lima. Flaps are 15, 15, green. Nav briefing. We're taking off runway 20 right at John Wayne via the fins 3 Meisen transition. First fix is Strel. No speed restrictions at or below 5,000 feet. It'll be a standing takeoff. All right, nav briefing is completed. Takeoff warning is checked. Auto throttle is armed. Engine start switches are continuous. Transponder is TARA, and the flight attendants are notified and acknowledged. For takeoff checklist is complete. Kyle, yeah, the textures are free, and they're different for each variant. So the 6, 7, 8, 900 all have different textures, and they're all subtly different, which is kind of cool. All right, we'll get the lights burning here. And John Wayne is it's a standing takeoff for us, so we're gonna come to it, line up, and come to a stop on the runway. All right, there we go. Clear for takeoff, so the taxi lights, the wheel well lights are coming on. One last look at the chat. Flaps 1 every flight. Yeah, I got across the room without checking for Harrison Ford. All right, here we go, chat. Emoji's coming, so we'll figure out a toga emoji here. But run it up to 40% on the brakes. All right. That looks good. They are stable at 40. Here comes toga. All right, N1 toga. Forward pressure on the control column. Column. $80 knots. Relax forward pressure. Throttle hold. Thrust normal. Rotate. Nice and smooth rotation, although you can get away with a more aggressive rotation in the 700. All right, positive rate, you're up.
Positive rate of climb.
Watch out, watch your ears. All right, staying on the flight directors here. We're LNAVing. There's 1,000 feet VNAV. VNAV speed. And so notice that the power's come back to climb 2, but we're staying up at V2 plus 20. Okay, here comes that turn. That lateral flight director is a little bit aggressive, but it's fine. That should be holding the pitch up a little bit higher. Get back on the flight director here. Look at that. Now there's 3,000 feet. There's our acceleration height. And we'll say that ATC cleared us up to 10,000. So we'll go 10, 10,000, and we'll delete this fixes at Strelendorf. All right. Flaps 5. And flap 1. And flaps up after takeoff. So ANS not required, that's all set. Looks good. Start switches are continuous. Fuel looks good. Alright. After takeoff check is complete. We'll accelerate to 250. Comes our 250 knot climb speed. Alright, up to Dolph, we'll go command. We'll say they cleared us up to 17,000. Alright, we got LNAV, VNAV speed. 250 knots, climbing up. Like violating the noise restrictions. I wish. I wonder when that became a thing at John Wayne, because I can't imagine that it was always such a noise-sensitive airport. I mean, the older stuff wouldn't have been able to fly out of there. Harrison Ford crossed the runway in his van. Dude, I don't know what it is about 2020, but I feel like the vans don't start crossing the runway until I begin my takeoff roll, and then it's just a mad dash for every airport vehicle to cross the active. Kyle Ferris, do I fly the Max or just the NG? Just the NG. I just fly the NG variants for now. Oh boy. All right, climbing through 10. Retracts are coming off. Check the pressurization. Nice. You know, it's probably a good time to kind of take a step back and reflect on, over the last 4 years, 2020 has become a really fantastic sim. I mean, it's got its quirks, just like anything, but I mean, look at this. The clouds, the scenery. We've got some good airplanes now. Pretty good time to be a flight simmer. Dreamerosity, I am absolutely going to get the iFly Max 8 the second that it drops. All right, from 17, we'll go all the way up to 290. Yeah, Blackbird. Like I said, the sim is not. There's a lot of stuff in the sim that I would like to see. I would like better controls, a better control mapping system. I think DCS has a fantastic one. I still don't love the camera system. But you know what? It's got a lot of good stuff going for it too, and I don't think I realized that until I jumped back into, FS9 and FS 2004 for nostalgia's sake, and I didn't realize how much this had spoiled me. I mean, look at the lighting. You got the sun reflecting off the wing. You've got lens flare. Got the clouds. It's a good looking sim. Zippy, yeah, the scroll only being in 100s. That took some getting used to, because it takes a lot more of a spin to get where you want to be. So in the Airbus 220, it was a 1,000-foot knob, and you pushed or pulled, one of the two, and then it would do hundreds of feet, which was more convenient, but. All right, put the dog in the house here. We got altimeters are standard, and the wing lights, as well as all the other lights, are coming off. Climb check. Altimeters are standard and cross check. Climb check complete. 24 is getting a control mapping rework. That is good to hear. Kyle Ferris, yep. Landing lights. So the retracts, which are these two, under the belly, they come off at 10, and really it's a speed thing. They come off when we accelerate above 250, and then the fixed landing lights, the turn-off lights, and the wing light stay on until 18. And then, fun thing about this airplane, the captain runs the landing, runway, turn-off light, and taxi lights, and the FO runs the external lights over here. How's the sim volume for you guys? Is it balanced well with the audio, with the voice audio? No, so Kyle, the reason that 10 is the altitude for the Airbus is because the Airbus only has, well, the legacy Airbus only had retracts. They didn't have fixed lights, and so they cut them off at 10 before they accelerated to 250. The new Airbuses that have the lights in the wing body fairing that are fixed, I suspect that they'll be up to 18. The 220 had only fixed lights. There were no retracts, and all lights stayed on until 18 in that jet. And that could be, keep in mind, operator specific too. Different airlines probably have different SOPs. All right, chat. We got we got 18 likes. That's awesome. So I was gonna do a flap 15 landing until we got over 15 likes, but we got them all. So we'll do a flap 40. What do you guys want to see? Flap 15, 30, or 40? Go ahead and pick the flap setting. And then the other option that we have, we can either fly the entire procedure from Bourbon, or we can do kind of a high energy visual where ATC turns us off the downwind and we have to intercept the glide slope from above. So I'll leave that up to the chat for what you guys want to see for the arrival into Vegas. How do I do a poll? Is there a way to do a poll? Let's see here. Here we go. All right. There we go. Poll and chat. And then we'll start another poll for flap setting. Let's see. Alright, this one's going. Let's see, Vodka says 15. 40, 40. Gus says 15. Okay, well, how about this? We're going to do flap 40 back into John Wayne, so we'll do a flap 15 visual into... Whoop! Did I end the poll early? I hit a button and I think the poll ended. Look at that, visual from above glide slope, 100%. All right, that's what we're doing. Okay, we'll do a flap 15 visual from above glide slope. So, got flap 15 selected. We'll start building the approach up here. Absolutely unanimous. High quality streaming content. You saw it here first, folks. All right, 259 is set in the courses. We need 111.5. The other thing that's going to be fun is I don't know if my LAS scenery glide slope is fixed correctly, so it may drag us into the trees. We'll see. Okay, so we got 111.5, 111.5. We'll check all the points here. Okay. Okay, so we're going from Meissen, which is at 224. Ooh. Ooh, okay, chat. So, this is a good real-world lesson. This is why you always check your points and you don't just rely on what's in the box. Meissen is a hard 24. In the box, Meissen is 240 and above. So if we had just let the jet do its own thing, we would have missed that constraint. So we're going to change that to 240. Make it a hard altitude, and that's going to move our top of D probably in here. Okay. All right, so 240. Then we have Teddy, whatever, above 190. Man, whoever coded this did not put in a lot of the restrictions. All right, whatever, above 190. Then we'll go totes. Ronders is 250 between 13 and 190. That's correct. We'll go grandma. Blue beauty above 12.5. Envy above 11. Redkin is 210 knots, 9,000 feet, and then Bourbon is 8,000 feet, 210. Okay. There we go. So that's built twice. We bugged it. Now we got to bug the ILS. So we got 111.5, 259 is set. 3,800 at Reland. Going down to 2269. So this is another PMDG-ism here. This MINS knob in the actual jet is a toggle switch, and if you hold it, it advances by tens, and it goes much faster than the sim does. So this is kind of painful setting MINS in the sim, but it's actually not that bad if the switch works right. $22.69. Perfect. And we'll do break 3. Okay. And then the other thing we have to do for a flap 15, we got to do two things. The first is we have to calculate our landing distance. So we'll go to the performance tool. We'll go landing on 26 left. VREF add, we'll go 5. Flaps 15, packs on, anti-ice, no credit, break 3, import the weather. Alright, required landing distance, got plenty. Okay, so that's done. The second thing we have to do is we have to flip the JipWiz flap inhibit switch. And so we will do that. Otherwise, you'll get a too low flaps call as you come down the glide slope. All right. Somebody asked if we could do, let's see, Dreamerosity. Is flaps 15 a normal procedure? It's a non-normal for my operator. Yes, flap 15 is a normal landing flap setting for us. However, there are added things we have to do. So typically we can use standardized landing lengths. So if the runway is longer than 9,000 feet and you have certain assumptions met, there's a long list of assumptions, but assuming you have those met, you can use break 3 without running a landing performance report every time. Flap 15, you have to run the landing performance report and get the data. And then the other thing is you have to flip the JipWiz switch. But yeah, normal procedure. You can absolutely do it whenever. All right, question being, did I fix the scenery order because Flight Tampa can't? I think I did. I went in and tried, but I didn't have time to do a test flight, so you'll be experiencing it with me real time. Okay, so 2 tools that we're going to use to help ourselves. The first is we've got our fixed rings here at 10 and 15 miles from the airport that will help us with our energy management. The second thing is we're going to go to the legs page. And we're going to go pick the runway. So we're going to hit runway 26 left. We're going to go to the descent page. And it may not work because we're not in descent mode yet. Okay, we got to wait until we're in descent mode. So, Southwest 1422, descend via the Ronder's arrival. So that's going to be 8,000 at the bottom. So we'll go ahead and talk about it real quick. No NOTAMs to be worried about. The weather looks good. We'll preset 3003. Check the recall. Weather is fine for the arrival. It's going to be the Ronders. 2, our nav arrival. All the points have been checked. It drops us off at 210 knots at Bourbon on the downwind. We're going to plan on the ILS Yankee 26 left. That's 111.5, which is set twice. We got 259, which is set twice in the course windows. Reland's a final approach fix at 3,800 feet, going down to 2269 on the Mins. Airport's at 2181, which means we're going to configure no later than 2,000 feet above that, so 42 AG or MSL. Although, with the visual, we'll likely be configured before then. And in the event of a miss, climb to 3,200, and then a climbing right turn to 6,000, so we'll set 6 in the window. Mins are set. Pappy on the left. For the taxi, it'll be a right-hand exit, probably Alpha 8, 1 to cross, and then we're going to gate Bravo 10, which is right in here. So probably, I don't know, Alpha 7 to Zulu, Whiskey, in, some of that nature. For threats, the high energy visual, which we're going to talk about, and special pages, nothing to add. All right. Gus, and you don't need to go to VRF plus 15 if you get single engine during the approach. Yeah, so if you, you're already at flat 15 setting for the single engine approach. Also, so unlike some other airplanes where your go-around flap setting is predicated on your landing flap setting, in the 7.3 it's twin engine go-arounds or flap 15, single engine go-arounds or flap 1. That's it. So if you're at flap 15, you go around, you don't move the flaps. All right, we're heading on down. Seatbelts, they were down the whole time. Okay. Thanks for flying full flap airlines where you won't be allowed to get up the entire flight. Meisen has a NOTAM, flight level 240 and above for quite a while. Not sure why they haven't changed the charts. Oh, really? Dr. Bolt. So now the question is, oh, interesting. Okay, so Meisen is 240 and above, but they haven't updated the charts, and there's some NOTAM there real world. Interesting. Do we have NOTAMs on the... will SimBrief give us NOTAMs? Oh, look at this. Look at this. Okay, SimBrief has NOTAMs. Harry Reid International, Ronders to arrival, change Meisen to Reid, at or above 2. Look at that, Dr. Bolt. All right, well, we're making it at 240, but that's cool. I didn't know that SimBrief had NOTAMs for Flight Simulator. That's pretty cool. Although now it means I have to actually check the NOTAMs when I'm flying Flight Sim. Wow, that's nuts. Let's see. Gus, full flat. There is also the briefing for Trap the Flaps 15. Um, we typically we don't have a there's nothing special. It's just in the briefing guide for flap 15. It just notes flap 15 is the go around flap setting. So real world, if I was doing this, since it's not something we do often, I would likely talk about it. But it's not a hard requirement to. All right, we'll get the VSD up so that we can see how we're doing on the VNAV. The sim brief give you notes. Yes. Do I read them? Absolutely not. That's really cool. I've always just discredited NOTAMs as not being a thing, but now that I know, I probably still won't read them for the sim, but it's really cool to know that they're there. Okay, so now that we're in the descent phase, what we can do is what I was trying to show you earlier, is we can go runway 26 left, grab that, go to the descent page, put a slash here, and now runway 26 left, it pulls the altitude out of the database. Our current flight path angle to the runway is 1.6. Vertical bearing, so this flight path angle takes into account that we have to turn and make it. Vertical bearing does not. Vertical bearing is just, your airplane, straight line directly to the point. What depression angle is that from the horizon? And then the vertical speed required to make it. So, as a rule of thumb, if you're on a 5-mile downwind and the vertical bearing is below 7, you can make it. 7 is sporty. 6 is fairly doable. 5, you're feeling pretty good. And then the vertical speed will you can use this to set vertical speed in the MCP, and I'll show you that as we head down. You can also engage, so our airplanes do not inhibit glide slope capture prior to localizer capture. However, you can capture a false glide slope. So as a technique, we still use localizer to get on the loc before engaging glide slope. But I've seen someone use approach on the base, and it captured the glide slope as we were heading downhill. All right, got the seatbelts are on, made the PA in the back, recalls checked, down we go. Let's see, the strip's going to be on the left, so we'll use that view. So the other interesting difference here is, so in the jets that I fly, if you open the speed window here, this will go to VNAV speed. And then you're basically in flight level change with protections, but it won't guarantee the top altitudes, but it will guarantee the bottoms. In the Pmdg as currently modeled, when you open the speed window, it stays in VNAV path and just strives to get this speed if it can, which Flight Deck to Sim says is accurate to the new VNAV mod in the airplanes that he flies. So I think it's an operator-specific, speed window's closed, an operator-specific option whether to have the speed window put you into VNAV speed or VNAV path. as the PMDG is currently, you're on a VNAV path regardless of whether the speed window is open or not. AJ, absolutely right. All right, so Ronders is the next one. We should be slowing to 250. There's our decel point. Okay, throttles come back. Another cool thing about the 7.3, it's kind of hard to do on a desktop sim, but you can, there's a clutch in the throttles, and you can actually hold them against the auto throttle. So if you wanted to decelerate before the jet decided to, you could just reach up and pull the throttles back to idle, and the auto throttle would stay engaged, and then when you let go of them, the jet would position the throttles where it wanted them. So, all right, let's see, 3003 in the meters. It needs a little bit of help. Here come the speed brakes. And we'll do a descent checklist. All right, the altimeters are 3003 cross-checked. Minimums are Barrow 2269. That's also cross-checked. Landing data, we're using flap 15. Ref of 137. Speed brakes are coming in. Approach briefing is complete. The auto brakes are 3. Seatbelt signs are on. Pressurization panel is set. And the recall's been checked. Set checklist is complete. All right, now it's official. We're doing the visual from above glide slope flap 15. Okay, so we're checking up here. Grandma. Next we'll go Beauty, Envoy, and then on to the downwind. Yeah, Vodka. We'll show you. We'll show you how to use this compared with this number. Assuming ATC gives you the high visual. Are the X-Crafts E-Jets, are they fully modeled now? As far as, having VNAV and having a FMS that's actually accurate to the real jet? Here's Gene. That's California state line is like right here. California Nevada state line. There's a Solar energy plant right there. And then, yeah, Gene Airport, little casino. Oh, forgot the lights coming through 18. Water, what was the big whoa WTF moment you had switching over to the 7.3? This thing. Probably just the amount of movement in the yoke compared to a side stick coming from the Airbus was. It's a pilot's airplane. It's a very good flying airplane, but you definitely have to sort of manhandle it in the flare a little bit compared to the Airbus, which is a fingertips kind of experience flying. So, yeah, I think that was the biggest change, because all of this is pretty very similar, right? I mean, all airplanes have a very similar setup, and the 220 has a very similar autopilot setup, with the exception of the VNAV is different. But once you can fly one, you can kind of figure out this, short of the Mad Dog. But yeah, just flying a cable-driven yoke-equipped airliner as opposed to fly-by-wire was the biggest thing. Yeah, vodka. That's why I want to get a force feedback yoke, but everyone keeps telling me to hold off. So, Gustavo, does the force that you have on the yoke what you expected, or was it heavier or lighter? It depends, and that's the funny thing, is that being a non-fly-by-wire airplane, it varies, right, based on your center of gravity and your trim setting. And there are times when you'll be going down the runway and you'll go to rotate and you'll put in what you think is the right amount of back pressure, and it doesn't come off the ground, so you have to give it a little bit more. And then there are others where you'll pull back on the stick or on the yoke, and the nose really starts moving. You go, oh, all right, that's today it's a little bit more sensitive in pitch. So I think just having that variability as opposed to the fly-by-wire airplanes where it's the same every time, that was kind of cool. All right, coming through 10. Speed's at 250, so here come all the lights, and we can do an approach check. Got 111.5 set twice, 259 set twice. The flight instruments are verified. Cabin notification is complete, and the altimeters are 3003, 3004. Crest check, magic barrier ref button. Max yoke heaviness is lighter than the NGs. Really? Interesting. So just the control pressure in general is lighter on the Max? Yeah, it's kind of funny. The Cherokee series is significantly heavier on the yoke than the Cessnas, which is funny because it has the all-flying stabilator in the back. Curiosity mostly in roll, but yes, I've heard that the Max is a much better airplane in roll, especially in flap 40. Does that check with your experience? Okay, so we're on the downwind, and we're looking at our vertical bearing. Currently 7. So we're looking okay. We're going to open the speed window. We're going to slow to 210 knots. and we'll get flap. Go level change down to 8, and we'll get flap 1 out. Okay. So ATC comes up and they say Southwest 1422, fly heading 085, expect the visual for runway 26 left. So what we'll do is we'll go heading mode, and then we'll go to the legs page. We'll get Reland, which is the final approach fix. We'll extend it out via 259. There's our line. And we're going to go back to the descent page here. And they've got to get us there's 8,000 feet, and now we're just watching this vertical bearing. So if they said, you know, turn left heading whatever it would be, for the base like now, we'd say unable because, you know, this vertical bearing is pegged at 7, and 3,000 feet a minute. But once it starts coming down to about 6, then we should be able to do it, no problem. So we'll come down to 7,000 feet. Be a level change. All right, so there's 6. So once this reads 6, we'll go ahead and start the turn. All right, there's 6 degrees, so we'll start the turn to the base. We're going to go flap 5, and we're going to pull the speed brakes out. And down we go. So now the vertical speed required is 2,100 feet a minute. So we're going to go vertical speed mode. I'm going to set 3,800 here. There's 38, and we're going to match the vertical speed to that required, so about 1,900 feet a minute. And we're going to slow the speed back to 180 as we're coming around the corner here. There we go. Bank angle scale got turned. Okay, so 1,600 on the vertical speed. So we'll match that. 1,500 now. Okay, we're below 210 knots, so we can use flap 10. That gets the slats out. There's 2.5 DME from the course line, so we can kind of set our intercept up. 260, so about a 290 intercept here. And we'll go Vorlock. You can see the glide slope coming in, about 1,200 feet a minute now, so we'll go 1,200. Okay. So now we're on the glide slope, and so now we're going to set 1,100 feet per minute. Okay, and now we're not going to select glide slope here yet because we don't want to capture the glide before the localizer. So as soon as this goes Vorloc, we're going to go to approach. Okay, but you can see that we're using 10,000, or sorry, not 10,000, 1,000 feet a minute to maintain the glide slope, and that's keeping us right on. There's Vorloc. All right, here comes approach. Approach is armed. There goes the glide, so we can set 6,000 for the mist. Match heading to course. And now we're all set up. So we said that we were going to configure at 4,200 feet. So we can bring the speed brake in. So we are all set. Okay, so we got Vorloc glide slope, missed approach altitude is set. We're doing a flap 15. Sorry, chat. Got getting kind of busy here, so I'll get back to the chat as soon as we land here. Okay, so we'll go gear down, flap 15. Start switches are continuous. Arm the speed brakes, match the speed. Bring it all the way back down. All right, and a landing check. We got landing gears down. Flaps are 15 green. Speed brake is arm, start switch are continuous. Landing check is complete. Okay, so now we fly this angle of attack. So you can see the green band here of angle of attack, and you can see the hook coming up too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set roughly 3 degrees angle of attack. This is not correct because we shouldn't be down by the stall on a flap 15 here. So that ref is something's wrong there. But what we're going to do is we're going to set 3 degrees angle of attack on the gauge. This seems like a more realistic VREF for flap 15 anyway. So 159, 160. So 3 degrees on the angle of attack. We'll, yeah, this is kind of where I'd like to be. All right, so we'll click off.
500.
All right. Yeah, it looks like the ILS is not correct. Thought I'd fix that, but that's fine.
Approaching
We'll look outside.
100.
Okay, so about 160.
Minimums. 20.
Oh, come on, get the end of the touchdown zone. There it is. All right, nose wheels on the ground. Here's reverse. Nope, sure didn't fix it. All right, 80 knots. Make the high speed Southwest style. 60 knot high speed. Hurt. So that's frustrating. You have to redo it every AirAC update. I'm pretty sure I did. Here, we'll stop and I'll go into developer mode and we can see. But all right, so we're stopped here. All right, and we can do the after landing checklist. Got the reversers back in, continuous, got the speed brakes and the flaps. All right, there we go. After landing checklist is complete. So yeah, I went through and I updated the nav data order, but I guess it didn't fix it. Once you shut down the gate, pull up the dev menu and we'll check it out. You have to redo it. Okay, sweet. All right, so we're cleared across. Here we go. That's so frustrating. For such a good-looking scenery, for it to be broken like that is kind of disappointing. Okay, so we're cleared across. We'll get the lights back on. They're cooking. Yeah, so the Pmdg has some issue, I guess, with flap 15 because you saw that as we slowed to the ref that the FMS gave us, the low airspeed hook was coming up and the pitch attitude was way out to lunch. So may have to do flap 30 and 40 only in this. We'll check the Zebo mod and see if it has the same thing. But that ref speed was significantly slower than it should have been, and kind of put us back somewhere we didn't want to be. So unfortunately, we'll write that up as a bug with the Pmdg flight model. All right, so we're going to gate Bravo 10. We're off the active, so we'll get the lights. That landing turned into Toad's Wild Ride. Got the low, fast approach to the V1 floater touchdown going off the taxiway, exiting the runway. All right, here we go. I also tried binding a tiller axis instead of a rudder axis, or not instead of, but in addition to a rudder axis. And so I'm still getting used to the tiller. Add that to the excuse list. Still getting used to the tiller. It's a good looking scenery, I'll give them that. God, that's so frustrating now. That you have an airport where the primary ILS on the main landing runway is effectively inoperative. Vodka, did you get the Cat 3 Boeing tiller? No, I've just got the Thrustmaster Warthog, and I'm using the gray. I don't even know what it actually is, but there's a little gray slider on the inboard side that has a center detent. I'm using that as a tiller. Yeah, so I've got the left throttle is the speed brake, the right throttle is both engines, and then the gray slider is the tiller. All right, we're going to Bravo 10, which is the real world gate. That's looking good. We'll fire the APU up. Totally forgot about that, so we're taxiing in. All right. Bravo 10 is on the inside here. Need to get some curve on that, see how I find control. Yeah, because I'm kind of all over the place with this, the tiller. And then I also would like to put a curve on the rudder, because even, I mean, here, you can see that it just, I don't know. The actual rudder in the airplane doesn't have, you know, it's not as sensitive as that. And so I think I need to throw some kind of curve on this. Oh, the Cat 3 scales it correctly. Just the hardware does, or is there a software program they use? Here we go. Taxiing into B10. Alright, parking brake is set. We can let them up, swap them, chop them, and get the beacon. Alright, we'll go fuel pumps. There we go, flight directors, got that. Transponder and trim. All right. So, for the shutdown, the parking brake is set, fuel pump switches are set, seatbelts off, window heats are off, probe heats off. Anti-ice is off, electric hide pumps are off, air conditioning panel is set, anti-collision light is off, start levers are cut off, and the transponder is standby. Shutdown check is complete. All right, welcome to Las Vegas. I definitely welcome a tutorial on fixing the 26 left ILS. Kelpie, we are actually we're going to turn this jet around and we're going back to John Wayne. So if you've got time, you want to stick around, you didn't miss it. Vodka, it's in the controller already. It's a really slow curve near neutral and more pronounced. That is cool. Great shirt. You need to give V1 a royalty on ERP. Yeah. That's awesome. And there was much rejoicing. Okay, so let's do dev mode, and we can do a tutorial on fixing Fly Tampa's work. So we'll go options, developer on, apply and save. Back, resume. And now if we go to the scenery package order and go down here. Oh, okay. So what I did last time is I did this. And that should be fixed, right? You leave it on, you can auto hide the toolbar. Okay. We turned my frown upside down as well. Awesome. Okay, so this should be fixed. I did this, so for some reason it didn't save. Do I have to save this at all? Okay, city can be where it normally is. Oh, so this I don't care. Okay. Oh no. Okay, so like that. As long as the airport is a higher number than the nav data, then you're good. Okay, and I don't have to save it. It saves as you adjust it. Okay. I did that, and it went back for some reason. I don't think I updated the nav data again. Maybe I did. I don't know. Anyway, okay. How do I auto hide the taskbar? Oh, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to exit dev mode. Okay. So, turning the airplane around, what we are going to do is we're going to reset the FMS. So, we're going to go FMC. And the way you would do this in the actual airplane is you would swap. So this would have an outdated database, and you could swap the outdated database in and then swap the new one, or the correct one back in, and it would reset the FMS. But I believe Pmdg does it for you automatically, so we are all set. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into SimBrief real quick and get us a new flight plan, and we'll be back. So we'll jump onto SimBrief, and we are going to go (1422) from KLAS to KSNA. Taking off a 26 right to 20 right. Boom. All right, so one thing we need to do is we need to do a quick align on the IRSs, and then we'll also set up the ground ops here in the Pmdg. So we'll go ground services, set the chocks, we'll get ground power and air, get the bags off, and get the fuel truck coming. Should we test the ILS by doing an engine out return to 26 left? We could do that. Okay, time for another poll. This is real world training here. Let's see if I can set up a poll without messing it up this time. So we'll go start a poll, and we'll go second leg, and we'll go engine out return to KLAS or non-precision app into KSNA. Look at this. Training is occurring. There we go. Man of the people. We'll see what we come up with. Okay, well that's going on. To get a quick align on the INSs, we're going to put them into align. They'll go to align. We'll lose our attitude, and then we just do all the same standard stuff. So KLAS, GPS. Set that to the IRS position, and then back to nav. All right. So we got that set. That may be tough. Oh, Joe Plains, that's a good point. I mean, if the engine failed, the engine failed. I could set up the failure, and then the throttle could just be, you know, moving along with, but the engine will be off. I think Vegas has a kind of spicy engine out departure procedure, too. All right, so let's go to the tablet. We'll go electronic flight bag, request new data, LAS to SNA. Okay, so that's up. We should have these. And departure and arrival, okay. All right, we'll give the poll another 2 minutes to run, and then we'll decide what we're doing for the next segment. So every time you update the nav data, you have to go back and do that. And then the other frustrating part about it is that even if you do that, the Phoenix will still come in low, I believe. Because I had a very frustrating evening of trying to get that set up, and every time I tested it with the Phoenix, it would still vodka. Oh, I'd have to reload the sim. Okay. Yeah, if I have to reload everything, then we're just going to John Wayne. Yeah, Phoenix won't work. So they've made a scenery that the best airliner we have in the sim can't fly into. All right. John Wayne it is. So we got Las Vegas, flight plan request, sim brief route. Las Vegas to John Wayne. We'll set the payload. We'll set the new fuel, got 11.7, and we'll select that route. Okay, and we will jump into the box here. Route uplink is ready, so we'll load. I'll go ahead and end the poll. I'll end the poll while SNA's ahead, so it still looks like I'm a man of the people. There we go. Activate. Execute. And we're taking off a runway 26 right via. Let's see what our route is here. Let's see. LAS to SNA. The Raider 2 Silver. Raider 2 Silver. Execute that. And we're going to take the Disney from Fela. So, Disney. Did my nav data not update? Because that says Disney 6 and this says Disney 5. The plot thickens. All right, Disney 5 from Fela to. I don't want to do the ILS. What non-precision approaches do we have into John Wayne? Let's see. To 20 right, we've got ILS. Got the RNAV, but the Phoenix can't do the RNP. Or can it? Can it do? Because there's no radius to fixed legs on this. Well, vodka, we did the visual going into Vegas. Here we go. LNAV VNAV. So we could do the RNAV GPS Yankee to 20 right off of the Disney. So we'll do that. So we'll do the RNAV Yankee to 20 right. And there is no transition. Oh, this thing does it? All right, we'll do the Zulu then, because it joins up. So we'll do the Zulu to 20 right from Disney on the Disney 5. We'll check that out. So we got Raider 2 Silver, direct to Fela, Fela Disney 5, Disney, Ztov. That all looks good. Get perf in it. The other thing I have to do is I have to check IAN and make sure that the IAN option is there. What we can do a go. Do we want to do a go around? We could do a go around in John Wayne and then so we could do one in IAN and one in LNAV VNAV, just to see the difference. Because I think there's a common misconception on how to fly non-precision approaches in the 7.3, because there are two different ways to do it. Okay, so we're going to do the Zulu. So we'll pin that. Okay. Then we'll check the flight plan. So SimBrief has us going up to 260. Okay, so if it does that, that means that there's an altitude constraint somewhere. Larson. Okay, so we'll just go up to 28 instead of deleting that. But that's why it's giving us the cruise limit change. And then we'll go get our winds. There it goes. Load. And we'll go back to the forecast page and load those. Okay. So the box is done. We can go up to the overhead and run our upper overhead flow. Lights check good. Those are aligned. Don't like come off because it's daytime. Oxygen's still good. Okay. Yaw damper is still on. Fuel pumps are set. Still running the APU. We can go ground power. And we got ground air too, so we can go like this. And got the power transferred. Off the bus. APU is off. Get the fuel pump. Then go make sure the lights are, the emergency exit lights are armed. Seatbelt sign is on. Window heats will come back on. Don't need any ice, not in Vegas. And we got the air panel. We're doing external air. We're cruising over at 280. John Wayne is at 150, I believe. Let's see. 50. All right, so 50 feet, automatic. Lights are all good. We'll use the left igniter this time. All right. And then we're coming back to the right. We'll scroll this down to 0. Get the flight directors on. 259. And then we'll set this in a second. All right. Check the lights. Reset the fuel. Still got oil. Hides are good. RTO. Check takeoff config warning. Speed brakes down. Flaps are up. Parking brake.
Wide slope.
Cut off. Stab trim cutout switches are
Full
normal.
up. Wind shear. Wind shear. Wind
And
shear. Terrain. Terrain.
I'm actually going to do the fire test correctly here so that we can see it. So you're counting 11 lights when you do the fire test. So you've got the 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lights during the fire test. So that checks good. Cargo fire test. That's good. And transponder is off. Rudder and aileron trim is checked. All right. Ryan, 7.3's been great, man. It's a more definitely a more workload intensive airplane than the 220, but it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely a pilot's airplane, so I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Default, my only go around as a passenger was at SNA. Apparently the winds favored 2, but because of the Huntington Beach Air Show, they could only do 2-0, so they had to go around. Man, yeah. It can be a challenging airport to land at. It usually isn't. The runway is actually plenty long to get an airliner into, but it's if something like that comes up, be it unfavorable winds or you're not stable or something like that, it can definitely be unforgiving. All right, we'll check out the FMS here. We got the progress page, so 214 air miles, 211 on the flight plan. That checks good. 8.5 at SNA, that's perfect. Then we'll go through our VNAV. We'll climb out we'll do 300 in the climb. Got a speed restriction of 230 at Rudy, that checks out. Cruise, we'll do 0.78. No reason not to burn gas. And then on the descent, we'll do 0.78 or 300. I don't believe that Disney has a speed restriction, but we'll check that out when we get there. Okay, that's all set. We covered the route, and we'll look at the legs page real quick. Step through the plan, and we'll get ourselves going here. Get ourselves going on leg 2. Okay, Disney, that'll join up once we're on the approach. All right, looks good. Back to map. We got our gas. And now we can get our performance data. So we'll go performance. Takeoff. 26 right. Import from the aircraft, import weather, see what it gives us. Oh, still got flap 15, we'll go optimum. Flap 1. Alright, so we'll go flap 1, TO 48. So we'll go here, verify the gross weight. TO 1, 48. Gives us climb 2. Okay, and then flap 1. That gives us CG 17.9. That's trim of 6.6. So we'll set that. Right there, there's 6.6. And the speeds are 34, 34, 36. 36 is set. Unable 230 at Rudy. Let's see. Departure, SID. Radar. Let's see. Max at 230. That's fine. All right, so we are all squared away there. We fire up the APU and get the ground services out of here. And while the APU is coming up, we'll talk about it. So we'll push back. We'll start 2, and then the departure is going to be straight out of here on the heading of 259. Rudy max at 230 knots above 4,000 feet. And then just following the RNAV points up to radar above 13. And we'll do that in LNAV. And the top altitude is 190. There it is, 19. So we are squared away, just waiting on the APU to come up. All right, there's the APU. On the bus, start the clock, and do a quick pre-flight check. All right, we got the exterior and interior inspection. Those are complete. The circuit breakers are checked. Nav and display switches are normal and auto. Passenger signs are on. Window heat's on. Engine bleed air switches are on. Pressurization panel is set. Pressurization mode selector is in auto. Mode control panel is, let's see, I'm flying top altitude heading V2. That's all right. Oxygen masks are checked. Altimeters, we'll use magic barrow ref key. Flight nav instruments are checked as well. We'll bury the barrow bug. Get rid of that. Warning and unnecessary lights have been checked. Speed brake is down. Takeoff warning is checked and closed. Engine start levers are cut off. Stab trim cutout switches are normal. The fire warning's been checked. Radios and transponder, not going to use them today. Radar's in op. Rudder and aileron trim are free and zero. The parking brake is set. Windows are closed and locked. Flight attendant briefing complete. Departure brief is complete. Logbook and QRHs are on board. And fuel required is 11.7, and that's on board. All right, we're set and good to go. All right, so we'll get rid of the ground services here. Get rid of the fuel truck. Get rid of the baggage. Get rid of the jetway. And we'll be on our way soon. Man, pushing out of here is going to be tight. We'll just go... We'll go nose right and then flip a 180. All right, 2 minutes. Here comes air conditioning. There we go. Okay. Still waiting on that one baggage truck. But we got the doors closed. We'll get the fuel pumps on. Hide pumps on. Doors are closed. Flight deck doors closed. And transponder. Making up a code. All right, pushing back. We got doors are closed. Hide panel is set. The fuel panel is set. The flight deck door is closed and locked. The transponder is transpondering. We're ready for pushback. So I think Vodka was saying as soon as I release the parking brake, those will go away. Is that true? All right, wheel chocks removed. Yeah, so Vodka, I got the chocks removed and they're still taking their time. I mean, they're departing. They didn't instantly disappear. Chocks not. Yeah, I got the parking brake set, but chocks are removed. Getting paid by the hour. Oh, they don't move faster. Okay, I thought that they just went away. Bow, but you don't have to dismiss them. Got it. Okay. Cool. Okay, so we can do pushback standard L with the nose going right. And, actually, yeah, and then we'll just flip around. That'll work. There we go.
Go ahead. We've been pushed back and start. They want the tail to our left. Roger that. Ready to push. Tail to the left. Park brakes off.
Okay, brake is off.
Brakes released.
Union workers, AJ. All right, we're going to start both engines because we're going to have to do something goofy to get out of here. All right, that's southwest, so we'll start them up as soon as we are off the gate. Here we go. Starting 2. Start the clock. All right, there's 25%. Waiting on max motoring. There it is. Fuel. Valves. Light off. That's pretty good sound, actually. Here, I'll shut up during the next engine start. We'll just listen to it from the passenger view.
Pushback complete. Park brake, please.
All right, there's the parking brake. Good start. Starter cut out.
Brake set.
Anti-ice not required. Isolate, ventilate. Okay, we're going to be quiet and listen to this this startup. I'm going to turn the sim volume up a little bit.
Steering pin is pulled.
Here we go.
Watch for the salute and release from guidance on your right. Have a good flight.
That's not bad. I would like to hear a little bit more of a whoosh as it lights off, but still pretty good. Is Boris doing an NG sound pack for the Pmdg? All right, set that up. APU's coming off. Check the recall. Flap 1. Turk in the US needs more bass. Yeah, more of a bass rumble would be good. More of a bass and that kind of whoosh when the thing lights off would be nice. All right, we'll do the Southwest control check here. I like the flap sounds though. I wish they had the slap motor sound though, because like right now the slat's moving with no sound. The other thing that would be kind of cool from an animation perspective is if all 4 slat sections were separate, because they don't all move at exactly the same speed, so as they move out they kind of look disjointed until they lock out into the position. Anyway, let's see. F-start checklist. Generators are on. The probe heat is on. Anti-ice is not required. Air conditioning panel is set. Recall's been checked, and the auto brakes are RTO. We're out of here. AJ, he is, but it's lower on his list. Okay. Well, this airplane's going to be around for a while, so. All right, we will go to the left. Clear left. Here we go. Who you calling pal? Okay. I guess this is Southwest. We got a taxi at like 60 knots too. If we're gonna do it right. All right, taxiing checklist. We got flaps are 111 green. Takeoff speeds are, run over this tractor here. 34, 34, 36. Thrust is TO 148. Stab trim 6.7. That's set. The flight controls are checked. Taxi check is complete. Do the 60 knot Southwest taxi out here. Engine warm up is complete. Okay, before takeoff checklist. We'll wait until we get a little closer. We'll sit the flight attendants down. And we're taking off runway 26 right out of Las Vegas via the Raider 2 Silver. First fix is going to be Rudy. 230 knots max above 4,000 feet. That looks like the last time I flew Southwest. They don't spool that fast in real life. In real life, if you're at idle and you slam the throttles, they won't even move. Like even in this, they go up to. I was spooled up for the taxi last time, but like if you had them back at 25%, and you slam the throttles, they wouldn't even move by the time you got them back to idle. Okay, we got 26 right full length inside. We got 26 right full length outside. The flaps are 1-1 green. Nav briefing's been completed. Takeoff warning is checked. Other throttles armed. Engine start switches are continuous. TARA and the flight attendants are notified and acknowledged before takeoff check is complete. Oh, and you know what we forgot to do, chat? We forgot to put in the engine out. So if we do blow a motor, so we'll put in the 066 and 3. So we'll do the 066 radial. 3 miles. There we go. So if we pop a motor on takeoff, maintain configuration to the fixed ring, then left turn 045, pick up this radial out to kids. And hold. Poor anti-surge modeling of the engine spool. Anti-surge, is that why they spool so slowly? Is anti-surge, like compressor stall reasons? I believe it was Flight Deck Sim that was testing iFly. He said it's an MS limitation. Really? Alright, landing lights are coming on. Strobes that, and we're clear for takeoff. Alright. Alright, chat, we're doing it Southwest style. Here we go. Alright, spool them up 40 as we get on the runway. A la Southwest. Alright, they're spooled up. Here we go. Toga. N1 Toga, forward on the yoke. Throttle hold, thrust normal. Release forward pressure. Alright, rotate, we're out of here. A little bit back. Nice and gentle. Alright, up we go, positive rate. You're up. So in the actual jet, there's a click as the air-ground switch is open that lets you know you're off the ground, and then you can kind of start the second part of your rotation. I always love this view crossing the strip. All right, there's 1,000 feet VNAV. Alright, flaps up after takeoff. So command B. There's command. After takeoff check. Anti-ice, air panel, pressurization. Start switches come off. APU is off. Auto brakes, flaps are up. Landing gear. Fuel check's good. Alright, after takeoff check is complete. See, that wing flex doesn't look horrendous to me, because that is kind of how the 7.3 wing moves. It's just a little bit low res. Alright, 230 max. Jet's accelerating to 250 now. 8 or below is our next one. See ya. Guts. This is a family channel, but it's hilarious. Alright, we'll say ATC cleared us through that 8,000 or below. We're going to cancel that with altitude intervene, and we're going to go up to 280. And sync the heading. Alright, catching up on the chat. Yeah, pet peeve with all sims is the poor anti-surge modeling of the engine spool. Yeah, X-Plane gets it right. Next stream we may jump in the Zebo. Because Zebo does it really well. Yeah, the iFly though, AJ is even faster than the Pmdg. Like it's, I mean, it's almost instantaneous. Let's move behind the wing, shall we? There we go. You can adjust on the real simulator. Oh, to have it right. Keep the right one. Oh, interesting. Okay, CFM are from 15% to 35. The N1 anti-surge is on, bleeding and discarding a lot of the air. Oh, interesting. Okay. Interesting. Vodka. Yeah, there's a click. So, there's when you rotate the nose up, and as soon as the main landing gear comes off, there's a solenoid in the cockpit that clicks, and so you hear, as you're just rotated there by maybe 8 degrees, and then you'll hear a click, and then the airplane starts to fly away, and that's kind of your cue that the main wheels are off the ground. The sound pack for Zebo actually has it modeled, so we'll see it when we fly the Zebo. Turk in the U.S. Yeah, it's better than it was for sure. Yeah, because it used to be pretty bad. Vodka, did you know you can use? Yeah, so I've got the cockpit set up that way. So I've got the captain's seat, first officer, the overhead, and then kind of walking in the cockpit. But I didn't know. I guess I didn't set up the wing views in the back that way, because Pmdg gives you the wing views. Vodka. So you're just hearing that? Yeah, exactly. It's not a design feature or any kind of crew alerting. It's just you just happen to hear it when it goes off. So I guess I could go back here and set this up like that. Yeah, there we go. Nice. This is my favorite place to sit until I'm trying to get off the airplane. Okay, we're climbing out. Oversped the landing lights, that's fine. It's not actually a speed restriction, it's just trying to be gentle to the equipment. Climb through 18, those can come off. Alright, climb check. Altimeter is your standard cross check. Climb check is complete. Yeah, Vodka, what I have to do is I've got to debind. I'm kind of careful with these because I've got to, I think I've got trim. Maybe there's something on here by default, and if I do it, you know, and have a dual keybind, it'll screw the autopilot up, etc. I want to set the wing views up on the FSS 7.2, but I can't get out of the cockpit. I'm trapped in the fuselage, and I can't get outside of it to set up a wing view because it's a freighter, so there's no windows. Use XP's hack. Oh, is that where you go in, you edit the config file, and basically get outside the airplane and then you can move yourself around. It's like T-Vodka's having a chat by himself. Shots fired emoji. Yeah, edit the view. Okay. Nice. I'll give that a shot. Yeah, because if there's an airplane that needs wing views, it's the 7.2. It is the 7.2 for sure. Okay, so non-precision approaches in the 7.3. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can, and this assumes that your operator has the integrated approach nav feature. If they do, then effectively what that does is it allows you to shoot a non-precision approach basically the same as you would an ILS approach. Differences being, when you initially intercept, you'll use LNAV, and then instead of Vorlok, and then the altitude in the window, instead of being the final approach fix altitude, will be your minimums, or your MDA or DDA, rounded up to 100 feet. That's the one option. And then once you capture and it says final approach course and glide path, or final approach course, and you're pointed at the runway, you can select approach on the final segment, just like you would an ILS pointed at the final approach fix. Hit approach. It'll say final approach course and glide path, and then once you have glide path, you can spin in the missed approach altitude, and the airplane flies just like an ILS. The approach, one to go. The approach light is out, so you're stuck in approach jail, just like you are in an ILS. Everything is the same, and that's the beauty of IAN. The other option is to use LNAV and VNAV, and that's where you kind of have to get into a little game with the altitude window before you scroll it up to your missed approach altitude. So, Vodka, where's IAN in the setup menu? I don't know if it actually is in the setup menu. Vodka, I didn't see it, so I'm just assuming that the airplane has it. I guess we can change to the Honeywell MCP for this leg. Yeah, I don't see an IAN option in here, so I just assume that they have it. But that's actually a good point, because if they didn't model IAN, then we won't be able to do an IAN approach. In which case, we'll just do it LNAV VNAV, which will be fine. Yeah, so it would be an equipment. So I think it has it by default, but if not, that's fine. We can still shoot the approach. We just have to use it with LNAV VNAV mode. So, already at the top of descent, so we'll start down. We'll say that we're descending via the Disney, which bottom altitude is going to be 8,000. Okay, we're going to set a VOR frequency in here so we don't get conflicting information. And we'll set up for the approach. In the Turk and the US, they all have it. It's Pmdg by standard. Okay. Vodka. Okay, I always used just hit approach to do these, but that was wrong, but it did work. So effectively, you were using IAN in that case. To do it, you would want to wait until the final approach portion, right? So just outside ZTOV, hit approach with the altitude set to, in this case, we'll use RMP 0.1. It's a DA. so we don't have to add anything. So 376 feet. So that's what we'll set in the mins. So if you had an MDA, a minimum descent altitude, then you would have to add 50 feet to basically build yourself a decision altitude. And the difference being an MDA is a hard altitude that you can't go below. A decision altitude is the point where you make the decision whether to go around or to continue. And so there's a 50-foot buffer built in there for the aircraft to continue descending while it transitions into the go-around. But for us, it says DA, decision altitude, so 376 feet. So that is set. Dream Rossi, you got to run some errands. Catch you later. See ya. Okay, so to shoot the RNP with LNAV and VNAV, we got to do a couple things. We got to make sure that the airport temperature is within limits, and that's going to be here. So procedure not authorized below 5C or above 54C. So that's not a factor for us. We've got the approach in the FMS, and all the points are verified. RNP, we got to make sure that this says 0.1 or whatever minimums we're using down here, 0.11, 0.15, 0.3, no later than the final approach fix, or the initial approach fix rather. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the nav status page and we're going to turn off the GPS updating. So we're going to go nav status page. Okay, we got 2 good GPSs. And then we're going to go to the nav options page and we're going to turn off the VORs, the VOR and DME update. Nav options, DME update, and VOR update. We're going to turn those off. All right, now we got the minimums. Those are set. Altimeters are all set. Getting ready to head down here. And then when we're cleared for the approach, we're going to use LNAV for the lateral mode. And then we're going to set this altitude, rounded up to the nearest 100, so 400 feet for the MCP. And then we'll select VNAV with speed intervention. And that'll be it. And then the only other thing we have to do is we have to wait to set the missed approach altitude until we are below 300 feet, until we're 300 feet below the missed approach altitude. So in this case, we have to wait to 2,700 feet before we set the missed approach altitude. So that'll all make more sense once we do it. So here we go. We are heading on down. Let's see. AJ, yeah, I'm pretty sure IAN's in there. Turk says it's in there, and I've done IAN approaches in this before, so I think it's just in there by default with no option to take it out. Vodka, I used to arm approach at the initial fix, and it would work in capture, but I couldn't set the go-around altitude until I got to the PAPA. It did seem to work correctly. Okay, yeah, Vodka. So that's not technically the the approved way to do it, but if Sim did it. All right, so get on the Disney here, and we got 280 knots of guitar, which we're slowing to. Down we go. All right, so we built it, we bugged it, we used 130, break 3, and we talked about what we're going to do. Get seatbelts on, make the PA, down we go. Vodka, yeah, I don't know. Culturally, we don't hit the approach button until we're just outside the final approach fix on any approach, be it an ILS or an IAN non-precision. so I don't know how it would work. But yeah, we can do an IAN. San Diego would be a good IAN approach because there's a localizer approach in there on 2.7 that works really well with IAN. Gustavo, to me, set the brown altitude ground or nearest hundredth of MDA is weird to me. Oh, yeah. I mean, all you're doing effectively is you're trying to get the altitude window out of the way of VNAV. I believe Southwest sets 0, but setting minimums rounded up is just kind of a way of getting the jet. No matter what you do, however bad you screw it up, as long as you're in a VNAV mode, the jet will stop above minimums if you have minimums rounded up in the window. Turk, yeah, I did see that. I saw it actually just before I jumped on the stream. That is awful. Crack the speed brakes just a bit. Alright, put the speed brake away. Yeah, where were they going? They were going from, was it SFO to... It was a really long haul flight because they diverted to New York, if I believe, right? Yeah, man, that's terrible. Seattle to Istanbul. Wow. Man, yeah, that's awful. I mean, that's the scary thing is that once you're in the air, there's not really a heck of a lot you can do. I mean, you can do the immediate diversion, but you know, a lot of medical conditions, time is of the essence, and it takes a second to get the airplane on the ground, even if you divert somewhere nearby. All right, descent check, altimeters, magic barrier ref key, 2993, minimums are 376. That's cross-checked. Landing data, we're using flap 40, ref at 130, approach briefing is complete, the auto brakes are 3, seatbelts are on, pressurization panel is set, and the recall is checked. Descent check is complete. Drag required comes on whenever you're 10 knots above the speed the jet's trying to get to, so that's just telling us it wants a little bit more speed brake. And then this, I'm just going to zoom in on it. So this is the constraint circle. So the jet knows it's trying to get to 280, and then that dot, if we're decelerating, will tell us when we'll make 280 knots. Gonna put our fix rings around KSNA. I'd imagine most commercial airplanes have AEDs on board. That is true, AJ. That's probably all you can do. Yeah. Yeah, not a good situation at all. I mean, they were going Seattle to Istanbul, so you, I mean, they were obviously augmented, so they had probably a 4-person crew on board, but, you know, narrow body ops, that's the other thing, is that now, you know, the other crew member is flying the airplane, so, you know, getting medical attention administered and things like that. That's the kind of thing that the big push for single pilot ops, you know, as long as events like this keep happening, I don't know that there's a way to responsibly do single pilot operations before you mitigate, you know, unless you're effectively okay with the airplane becoming unmanned in the event of a medical emergency. Yeah, AJ, at least 20 minutes, right? Turk, yeah, I'm with you. You know, it's easy for non-aviation people to say, well, the military has single-seat airplanes. They don't crash very often, and that's true. But it's just such a different environment that I don't know. I don't think that single-pilot commercial aviation is a viable option. But as long as there's money to be made, people will pursue it. All right, E-Rock is next. We got a 250 knot speed restriction there. We're gonna throw the lights on. We'll keep those off, but we can do a descent check or a approach check. The flight nav instruments are verified. The cabin identification is complete, and the altimeters are 2993. Turk in the U.S. Eurowing. Oh, you talking about is it Eurowings or Germanwings? And then, you know, Green Dot's video that MH370 was potentially a suicide mission. And then I think there was was it China Southern or an Air China? 7-3. Vodka, I just verified that I had SNA 20 right in here because we went through and we selected the approach. Right here. RNAV Zulu to 20 right. And then in the actual airplane it would say RNAV Zulu 20 right up here as well. Yeah, China Southern Captain with 30,000 hours. That was a scary one, man. You just see the airplane, you know, pure nose low into the ground. That was pretty scary. All right, we're going to slow it up to 250 here. Jet's going down to 240. Got the speed brakes out to help us out. Going a little high on the path. Jet's in VNAV speed. So, effectively what's happened here is the jet has transitioned from VNAV path to VNAV speed because it says, hey, I can't do both. I can give you 250 or I can give you the path. Which one do you want? We've said give us the speed, so I'm going to open the speed window, bump that up to 240 to get us heading down, and then we'll say that they cleared us for the approach, so we're going to put Disney on Disney, execute that. Oh boy. And down we go. So we're cleared for the approach, so now we can set JWORD, which is the bottom, or sorry, not JWORD, ZTOF, which is 1,400 feet. As we're cleared the approach. So we've got L, A, VNAV with the speed. And we'll slow it down to 210 or 220 at Disney. Speed brakes are still out as we slow down. Here come the flaps. I think the other side of the airplane is more scenic. There we go. Pmdg will be on a Shandong 738 tomorrow. Yeah, there was an Egypt Air on the international waters that killed himself, but the... Wow. Is that not one of the crashes where there's a video like on the beach of the 76 going into the water right off the beach? Was that the one? Gus, you're right. Flap 5 speed brake is you can actually do flap 10 and speed brake, and it comes down a little faster, but you have to get down to 210 before you get flap 10 out. But we're doing good. If you look at our fixed rings out here, we want to be 210 by 15 miles or so. So we're doing pretty good. We can start bringing it back to 210. Yeah, we'll bring it down to 200 and slow it down in the descent. Oh, that was an Ethiopian 7.6 due to hijacking. Okay. Egypt Air was middle of the night and he just sat out of the water. Man. That's scary, dude. That's, Okay, so this is a good situation where you could try flap 2. So we're going to go flap 2. Because I don't want to put out more drag than necessary and have the power coming up above idle, but I also want to get the airspeed coming down a little bit. So you see flap 2 is just enough to get a little bit of drag out and get us right back to that 200 knots where I want to be. Side here. This is a pretty cool arrival in real life and approach where it takes you pretty low over the mountains. My father used to say some pilots he knew in his company were nicknamed the Flap 2 gang. They're there, but they're useless. Yeah, so Flap 2 kind of got left behind. The reason why is it's related to the flap, or the rudder issues that the 7.3 had. And when they changed the flap schedule speeds to allow the airplane to be controllable during a rudder hard over, the speed for flap 2, which was 200 knots, kind of went away in the schedule, so you either had to be flap 1 at 210 or flap 5 at 190. Can you hear me now? Mic volume is low. How about now? Check, check. No, it's still in my head. How about that? Any better? Okay. So the speed went, the speed for flap 2 effectively became unauthorized. And so there was not really a reason to use it anymore, and so it just fell out of favor. All right, here we go. Come back, flap 5. We're all deaf now, thank you. Whoops. We'll throttle it back a little bit. Good now, awesome. Your tinnitus is not service connected. Okay, so now what we can do, we're cleared the approach, so we can spin the altitude down to 400 feet. So there's 400 in the window. That's the DA rounded up to the nearest 100. Okay, heading to course. Should be 196. All right, flap 10. Okay, we'll say we're clear to land. Okay, so 2,700 feet is the soonest that we can, if I remember right, that we can set the missed approach altitude. Oh boy. Yep, 3,000 feet. Okay. So we're going to go gear down, flap 15, match the speed. Get configured a little bit early here. Okay, flap 25. Flap 30. Okay, flap 40 and a landing check. And now what we can do is we're established LNAV, VNAV coming downhill, and we're going to spin the altitude up rapidly through our current altitude to the missed approach altitude. There we go. So it's 3,000 feet. It's spun up. We had to wait until we were at 2,700, so it didn't capture. And now we're going to follow the VNAV path all the way down, and the missed approach altitude is set. Look at that, flap 40. Get the flight recorder going. Okay. And 1,000 feet, we'll click off.
1,000.
1,000 feet, missed approach altitude set, we're clear to land. So for this, you never had to press approach. That's correct, Vodka. We're just LNAV, VNAV, coming downhill, never pressed approach. I got the runway in sight. So this is a non-LNAV or a non-IAN approach. So this is not using the IAN capability on the 7.3. Now I don't know that the 777 has IAN or not. Somebody else can tighten me up on that.
500.
All right, going a little high, getting a little fast.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Okay, I'm going to shift my aim point slightly.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
There we go. Reverse going. 222 feet per minute according to G's. 80 knots. Still the reversers. Manual brakes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to John Wayne. Alright, start the clock for engine cool down. Start switches, radar's off, flaps, and speed brakes. And we'll get the APU fired up. Oh yeah, look at the Falcon. Got the Tri-Jet Falcon. Is that a Citation? Is that the 10? Alright. Turk, flight director's on for non-precision approach. Yeah, you can keep them on as long as you have LNAV and VNAV. No reason to turn them off. So for the visual, if you don't have vertical guidance, then you would want to turn them off. So like if you're doing the circle to land, and you don't have vertical or lateral guidance for the final portion, then you'd want to turn the flight directors off. But for this approach where we were straight in and we had an underlying approach, we could keep them on. 777 has LNAV VNAV only. Okay, so the method that we just used should work in a 777 as well. MSF has ground traffic. Yeah, I gotta turn that off before the next stream. All the rich guys. Okay, power's up. Cap says we're good to swap. Swap it. Engine cooldown is done. Start the timer for the air. We'll do a single engine taxi in, so we'll kill the right, and we'll turn off the left pack. When we get to the gate, we can talk about the air system logic, but effectively, the isolation valve is typically closed unless any of the four corner switches are out of their normal position, and then once they... So in this case, the left pack is out of automatic and went to off, then the isolation valve automatically opens. All right, here we are, gate 18. Alrighty, there we go. Stopped. Brakes. Got parking brake. We'll let them up. Swap them. We already did it. Chop the power. And get the anti-collision light. Oh, put that down. How's our time looking? That looks good. Trim's right at 5, and transponder off. Alright. The shutdown check is complete. So, now I got to reset the panel state to jump on the recorder. So we'll stop the recording. We'll get the panel state going. Menu. Menu. There it goes. Load. Final. Let's see. Catching back up in the chat. Diamond Clad, nicely done. Thank you. Man, these landings are masterclass. No excuse list. Yeah, you must have missed the one in Vegas. That one was hot garbage. Beautiful landing again. Thanks, guys. Got the Aerosoft 330. Man, that bums me out. I really wish that that we had a 330 that was good. All right, so we got the recording here. We'll set it, And replay. Oh boy.
Don't sink. Don't sink.
Pause. I want to back it up a little more than that. Resume.
Don't
All right,
sink.
first one will be from a wing view. Gus, APU bleed. What's the question with the APU bleed? Flaps 40? Yeah. Yep. Flap 40. Did they not actually go to 40?
Too low.
Oh no,
Terrain.
you're right. They're at 30.
Too low.
All
Terrain.
right, hang on.
Too low.
Got to
Terrain.
back it up.
Too low. Terrain.
So we'll go
Don't sink.
back it up here.
Don't sink.
Resume. Oh, that's right. I have to manually position the flaps, don't I? Oh, and probably do all this stuff. There we go. That look like flap 40? No, they're stuck at 30 for some reason. The handle's at 40. Why are my hide pumps not? There's some special thing I need to do to get the flaps to move. The gauge says 30. I don't know. We'll see if the spoilers come up on landing. I love this view with the shadow coming up. Ah. Oh man, no spoilers. I broke it. Let's see, it worked last time. Let's see, maybe it's a panel state thing. Load. Let's do approach. I think you have to set the flaps before starting the replay, okay? Okay. Oh, you know what? Hang on. Do I have hide? Oh, there it is. So I've got failures on, and for some reason setting the... let's see. So I probably need to end the replay, put hydraulic fluid in it. Okay, so stop replay. Set the brakes. Why is... I gotta get ground maintenance, refill the hydraulic fluid. Ground maintenance, service high fluid. There we go. And now, there we go. There we go. Okay. So now I should be able to go back to flight recorder, hit replay. Pause replay.
1,000.
There we go. Resume replay. Alright. Speed brakes are armed. Here we go. And wait for him to get 40. AJ, alright, I'm out. Time to leave the office. Thanks for joining in, man. Appreciate it. There we go. That's flap 40. Yeah, again, the weather in the sim looks pretty good. Santa and the smog. Looks just like that. Love this with the shadow coming up to meet us over the freeway. There we go. Watch one from the front of the wing. This is a better side view. You get more buildings on the side, although the photogrammetry is kind of struggling to keep up. There go the reversers. Alrighty, guys. Well, we'll watch one more from the outside view. Watch your ears. We'll do one more from the outside view, and then we'll call it a day. So thanks for joining in. Appreciate you. And we'll do it again maybe tomorrow with the Zebo if I can get that fired up. And we'll try VATSIM as well on the next stream. So thanks again. We'll leave you with one more replay, and see ya.